So I'm not even really expecting anyone to join this live. I didn't uh, alert anyone that I would be doing a live. I was just kind of guided to do it. And it is because I am tired of being strong. I know I put content on here to the best of my ability to uplift others, to help them along their healing journey and whatever they may be going through. All the while, I am drowning behind the scenes. But I made a promise to myself to show up for myself. And that is why I continue to post content despite what I'm going through in my personal life. And it also helps because when I am having my down moments where I am in freeze mode and can't post anything, it is because of those moments and why I put my content on a schedule. So I try to schedule my content as best as I can. That way, on the days that I feel not so me, those that need the guidance can still get it. But honestly, guys, this is something that I was led to do. This isn't even the live that I intended to do this past weekend, because I did say I was going to start going live every week on Saturdays, and this past Saturday or Sunday I did not go live because, like I said, in real life, I am drowning. I am going through things. And yeah, but one of my parts in healing that God has sent me, whether it's God, my ancestors, all of the above, have sent me, is letting me know that I was keeping me from my breakthrough, is I am still living in survival mode. When difficulties of life happen, I go into avoidance, and that, oh, live, yeah, later, okay. What was I saying? Avoidance, and that causes a lot of anxiety, which puts me in freeze mode. But again, God has sent me messages through videos, content, songs, all of the above, things that I read that pops out at me, that basically is leading me that I need to tell my story. Excuse me. There are certain things that need to be heard from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And so instead of drowning in tears and feeling as if I don't have the support, then I am going to share my feelings and everything with you guys, because there's somebody that is going to come across this, whether during the actual live or during the repost that I do, that this is going to help. And honestly, because of trauma and just conditioning growing up, honestly, I can't see myself any other way than being sort of an open book. But um, when my father passed, he left me his house in his will. And I told him when he was alive and well and thriving, he died unexpectedly. I told him, I didn't want to be a homeowner unless I was married. I knew I didn't want that responsibility, that I was not ready to take on that kind of responsibility by myself. But he told me he put some things in place where financially I would be able to maintain it and keep it. And so I agreed. And then when he passed, we never found the paperwork. And I was there when he got the paperwork together to kind of um, ensure ensure that I would have the funds to keep the family house. And it was never, we never found it. I don't know if he canceled it because we did have a mild falling out. We had made up before he passed and all of that. We just hadn't got back as close as we originally were. And so eventually, um, the bank sold the house. And so I had to leave. I had a cousin that offered for my daughter and I to come stay with her. And then a week before we were supposed to move out, she backtracked and said that we couldn't come stay with her, that we couldn't come live with her because of she didn't like the idea of my dog using the bathroom in the house. My dog is crate trained. She's 5 pounds. And she didn't like it, even though her crate could have been down in the basement or on the back porch. She just didn't like it, so we couldn't come there. So luckily enough, I had some friends that I had met in church some years prior. They opened up their home to me and my daughter, and we lived with them for a little over a year. Now, I wasn't expecting to be there that long. I was in the process of trying to improve my credit and save so we could move, but also have a bad mental relationship with money that I'm still working on. And I've talked about it, where that mentality, the relationship and mentality that I have with money and finances, where that comes from. If you scroll back enough on my feed, you will see those. I have at least two or three, I want to say, because it's a um, couple of different things or situations that led to that. So if you're interested on where that origin started from, go back on my page and check for those. But due to money mismanagement and overgiving to others without thinking first if it fit my needs is what had me in that predicament, and also what has me in my current predicament. Because sometimes it takes a long time to unlearn things, especially things that have been ingrained in us and the programs we have been mentally and emotionally operating in since childhood. Those things are not going to break overnight or not be fixed or healed overnight. Healing happens in layers. You think you've healed from something, you move on, and then something else in life happens, and you find yourself right back at that same lesson again, only it's not the same lesson. It's a different level of lessons you were supposed to learn from the same situation, if that makes sense. But continuing on, while staying with these friends. I began building a community. I began working with individuals with like-minded goals, and I ended up mutually crossing the line with a coworker that did not end well. And I know many people feel like my response was due to anger and jealousy, and that's not is really not it, because it really doesn't bother me that he preferred to date someone else. Perfectly fine. The thing that led me to not really wanting to work around this individual anymore is they took that anger and animosity from that moment towards me and decided to badmouth me to people that we had to work with colleagues, both within our organization and with community professionals that we had to work with. And that is what gets me. That is what got me, is because because this person led me to believe that they were a safe space for me emotionally. And prior to this dating incident, I confided some things in this person. I allowed myself to be vulnerable with this person. And in their moment of anger, it's like they threw it against me. They used it against me. And not saying that that was, well, I don't know if that was their intention. I can understand being angry in the moment. And so that is why other passive aggressive things that he and a friend that he recruited to do against me, I was willing to forgive and forget those things. Because again, I understand when you're emotional, especially in anger, you're going to do some acting out, right? Because you're upset. You want to get the person back. That wasn't it. It's the fact that now I can't trust you in business. Now I can't trust that if I do something that angers you, even on the work side, I don't know. I can't trust that you won't use information I've shared with you against me, or I can't trust that you will try to defame me or paint me out to be just somebody that I'm not, basically projecting. And of course, this is subjective. This is just my perspective, but this just ties into um, why I'm tired of being strong, why I am tired of putting on this face of strength, even though things are falling apart. And I know some of you out there can relate to that. If you tap on the screen, join in, hit the likes if you resonate with that. But it got me to a place again where I was frozen. And the nature of the work that I was doing, part of it was becoming and I was no longer feeling aligned with it. I wanted to step out of facilitating in the classroom and step more into licensing the types of lessons that I was creating and facilitating. But because a culmination of all these things together, it it had me stagnant, where things were just piling up, piling up, piling up, where I began avoiding certain duties. I just not thinking clearly. I know, I know those that really care about me and are there for me are like, what is this girl thinking? Like, I know I'm not thinking clearly, but at the same time, how do you gain the clarity that you need when you are telling people how you feel, what is wrong? Because they say ask for help, but then the help doesn't believe you, or the help is, well, you just have to do this and do that. And I get that. But when you are stuck, how do you get out of that? I know I need to do this. I can't. My body won't let me. And one of the things that I try to do to the best of my ability is at least get up and complete one task. I did a video on that as well to help kind of get you out of stagnation and get things moving forward. That way you're not just stewing in your emotions and depressive episodes in that freeze mode. But when you're in the thick of it and you feel like your back is against the wall and like you are just misunderstood from so many different aspects, it makes doing those little things even harder, if that makes sense. And so now I find myself surrendering to these emotions and sharing all of this with you guys because I I recently hit a dark place. I recently hit a place where a few weeks ago I was feeling so stuck, lost, misunderstood, misguided, angry at myself that um, I experienced some suicidal ideation and I tried to take myself out. I just took a bunch of my anxiety medicine and some nighttime ibuprofen and I took an edible. And the most that happened is I got an upset stomach. I got sick and I was on the toilet a lot. Might be TMI, but basically that was God telling me that I don't control it, He does. And that I also still have a reason and season for being here, no matter how bad I may perceive it to be at the moment. Because honestly, y'all, my soul is tired. It's not that I'm just mentally and emotionally and physically tired, which is what I feel others think that I'm feeling, thus resulting in procrastination, even borderline or even laziness. Yes, tired from that, but I feel tired on a soul level. Like my soul feels like it does not want to have this human experience anymore. And y'all let me know if this resonates, if you have ever felt this way. And it also makes it difficult when you are spiritually gifted and you can see and hear things in spirit from other people that may smile in your face, but God allows you to hear and or see how they truly feel about you behind the scenes. It will make your soul feel tired and like you don't want to be here. And I needed to find a different sense of community. Like I said, I didn't alert anyone that I even know or like my followers. Did not make a post saying that I was going live. Mostly everybody that I know will not see this or tune in directly when it's happening because they're at work, or at least they should be. So that kind of gave me a little bit more courage to come on here and share this with all of you. But who else out there is just tired of the heaviness, but knowing that you need to surrender, knowing that you need to surrender some aspect of yourself, because this possibly just can't be what life is. It just can't be. Like I love the work that I do. I coach people, I help people, I teach from places that have helped me through my bad times, through my dark times. And that's what turns up in my content, as well as what I am doing with my clients, my students, when I'm facilitating things that I learn along the way. But again, behind the scenes, I'm this, because people will think that you do things for attention, clout, recognition. Like, case in point, this past weekend, I did a appreciation post for Black history, but also recognizing some of the, like, there's a lot, but just a few of the Black entrepreneurs, creators, um, artists, musicians, whatever their field is. And these were people that I have either networked with some way, shape, or form. I've bought a product or service from them before, or I just genuinely enjoy their content. And I highlighted them in this video and encouraged others that were viewing the video, check out their pages. I see the value in them, and I just wanted to share that. Yet in spirit, I'm hearing, oh, she just wants clout. Oh, she's just looking for attention. And people asking, well, did you ask her to do this? Oh, she just trying to get paid promotions. When did it become a bad thing to just share other people's shit? If you like it, why does it always have to be? And I guess I know, because in today's age, a lot of people have motives for doing the nice things, which is just a human thing to me to do. I know I would appreciate it if someone did that for me. And so that is what I chose to do. But again, because I am spiritually gifted and I can see and hear in spirit, let me specify, God allows me to see and hear in spirit with things that pertain to me. So if something is being thought or said about me, God allows me to see and or hear what those individuals have said or done or how they feel. So it just makes trying to be strong that much harder, because you know that you are genuinely trying to put out good, but it is being perceived as you have a hidden motive. It makes the world such a tiring place. And that's what makes me want to not even do any of this anymore. But again, I've tried to stop. I've tried to end it all. And God won't let me. And so, even though, like I said, I am going through it, I should be packing right now, because I have about 2 days to get out of my apartment. And it's just me and my daughter that can move our stuff. I don't even have the money for packing supplies right now. And I'm sitting up here on live, but this is what God said I needed to do instead, because I tried to I tried to get myself together. I had a breakdown this morning, and I tried to get myself together to get out of here and do like some ride sharing deliveries things so I could make some money so I could at least get packing supplies. For the longest, I didn't even know where we were going. I was looking up shelters. Um, my sip just, I think my family is to the point where they are tired of me being in this kind of predicament. And so, therefore, help is either non existent or extremely reluctant. And so, while on one hand, I can understand, on the other, it still doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. I see some of you coming in and out the room. If you come in, I ask that you at least tap the screen, share a gift. Any little bit helps. Share the live with someone that you know that maybe just going through a hard time too, and just looking for some community outside of what their norm is, because sometimes it does take strangers in these kind of moments, because again, the people around us just don't believe us for one reason or another. And I know they say too, people can see the calling on your life, and they may not be consciously aware of it, but on a soul level, on a higher level, their spirit knows that you are meant to do or be or have something great to share, and that can cause resentment and bitterness and jealousy in them, and those feelings that they harbor for you just because you are living out your purpose. Then they have these, even if they don't physically like do anything bad to you, just them having negative thoughts and ill feelings affects you, because that's energy. And that's something that I think more people are waking up to, the fact that energy is real, but like really fully understanding that you cannot in one breath tell someone or wish someone well and believe in them, but then as soon as they're out of your face, you're doubting everything that you just told them. You can't tell them, you're doing a good job, I hope you succeed, you have these talents, and then when they're no longer in your presence, oh, that ain't about to pop off. They not about to be able to maintain that. Or they're not about to be able to have that, just because they feel you either don't deserve it, or because they may think it's better than them. Who knows why people have these thoughts? But it gets to a point. It gets to a point. Thanks for everyone that has shared some hearts, some likes. But when you're tired of being strong, ironically enough, I created a workbook titled that to help with exactly this kind of thing. And I had to go back myself and reread it and kind of go through some of the exercises again, because I don't know what else to do. I know some people may be like, okay, girl, you need therapy, you need to go. I understand that. I don't have the money for moving supplies right now, which means I don't have the money for health insurance. And then trying to tell the state that you can't afford health insurance and give them your income, and they tell you that you make too much to get state medical insurance. So what the fuck am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I I work in mental health. My business is centered around aspects of mental health. But again, when you have all these different things layered on you, and at least that's how it feels from the outside looking in, it may not look like that. It may look like one thing, but you know what you are facing, because everybody can't see what God shows you. Everyone is not going to experience similar situations the same way that you do. So whereas for some people, I don't know, but I would imagine that there are people that I know my situation and look at it and can see the answer clear as day. But really, it is the answer that would suit them if they were in my situation. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to align and resonate with me. And the shit is just heavy. And it gets and feels heavier when you feel like you're doing it alone, and not just like family, friends alone. I'm talking about like life partner alone as well. Like just always having to, and have had been the one to balance and juggle every decision in life, from where to live to budgeting to the right car to the right schools to teaching your kids to work. Like that's there are some people out there that do it and do it well, and I commend you for it. But as for me, as for this woman, as for Miss Kalina, as many call me, I am not that strong anymore. Not not in that aspect. I'm tired. And I have been terrified to share that with people outside of my like 4, 5 people that I actually would feel comfortable telling this to. But also, you can't keep doing the same thing or wanting different results, but doing the same thing. I've never done anything like this before, where I have been this open and raw. Um, what is this? But where I haven't been this rare, I'm sorry, this transparent, this raw, this open with absolute strangers, because I don't know whose FYP this is coming across that is just looking at me talk without tapping the screen. I would hope that um,
I don't know what I would hope. I mean, I guess my biggest fear with this was I was hoping that no one that knew me personally would see this in real time and think it was funny, think it was for show, because it's not. I definitely could be doing something else, but most people don't believe others until it's too late. Not necessarily saying that's the case with me, but I mean, just just look at what the everything that they're putting out now, these Epstein files and everything, and now we're realizing so many famous people from the past that spoke out about these kind of things going on in the industry for years. Now they don't seem so crazy. So that's what I mean by, unfortunately, people tend not to believe you until it's too late. And I don't know if it's too late for me or not. I would hope not. But in my efforts to try to find my tribe and build my community outside of where I live, I guess this was needed and why God was pushing me to do it. And then part of me also kind of wanted to share a little bit of this side with me. Like, not that I haven't been vulnerable in my content with my audience before. If you go back and look at any video of mine, especially the ones where it looks like I'm just laying down chilling or in a bonnet, those are very much real moments. But for it to be like on live, it's a different kind of energy exchange that is happening. And so that's what also makes this experience and this effort in finding my tribe, not only just my tribe, but those that my story may lead to helping. How else would they find it? My video may not come up on their FYP, but this live may. And just me sharing these things and my testimony, it may help. I know others that I have watched, it has helped me. It does give me some strength to keep going when I see others that share their stories, that are brave enough to share their stories. And so if any of you watching this have ever done something like that, I commend you and I thank you for having the courage to do so, because it definitely is not easy, but we are still here for the time being. That was a layered response. Sorry guys. Still here as in life. And then for me, more so, still here for the time being as in my apartment. Because again, I have to be out in 2 days. And I don't even have what I need to pack right now. So I could lose all my belongings. I could not. Me and my daughter, my daughter's 21. We can only do so much. Especially on top of me being asthmatic This winter has been absolute hell. And if you know anything about asthmatics, especially asthmatics with asthma, dry weather is no bueno. And I still feel repercussions from a foot surgery that I had all the way back in August. But again, remember, I don't have any medical insurance. So I haven't even been able to get my checkups or anything for that. So y'all, yeah. Basically I'm hanging on by a thread. This is how I chose to show up for myself today. If you see my post for today for Write It Out Wednesday, you see the journaling prompt was, how are you going to show up for yourself today? That's working on your solar plexus energy. That is your confidence, your courage, your strength of will, your inner child healing. That is what that journal prompt is going to help you tap into and strengthen and increase. And so today, instead of journaling that, you get this live. I did a live journal, you could say, on how I'm showing up for myself. How are you going to show up for yourself today? If you're someone that is amazing at putting yourself first and showing up for yourself, who's someone that embodies the energy that I've had during this live, this energy of, they are tired of, they're tired of being strong and trying to hold it all together. Who is that person in your life? And how can you show up for them today? Have grace for people if you can. Not saying just let people run over you, mistreat you, use you, manipulate you, do you any kind of way. Not saying that. I'm saying tap into your discernment. That was the word of the week last week. Tap into your discernment and ask for it to be revealed. The true hearts and minds of people. And if you have eyes that see and ears that hear in spirit, it will be shown to you. I'm definitely a believer in that, because God He showed me a lot. Doesn't show me anybody else's business, because quite frankly, I don't care. Not unless they put me in their business and ask for it, then yes. But 99.999% of the time, when God is revealing things to me, or when I hear or see things in spirit, it is pertaining to what others have said or done towards me, because my energy is all that I have the authority to rule over. So I think I'm done. I don't know what else God would want me to share. Is there anything else, God? Okay. Let me pull something up, guys. So if you look back in on my page, you'll see my recent ventures were 2 ebooks. One's a workbook. It's called Escaping the Lion's Den, and the other is called When You're Tired of Being Strong. Escaping the lion's den is mainly just about realizing what your lions are, meaning what's holding you back and keeping you from escaping or leaving your den, your comfortability, your place of stagnancy, your survival mode. And when you're tired of being strong, um, is a workbook that gives you action steps to dive into what those things are and how to process them, how to work through them. And so when you are thinking of your lion, this is from one of the activities in the when you're tired of being strong. This is one that literally helped me um, have a bit of aha moment and to do this live. It sparked from here, and God sent me on a whole thing and what led up to this live. But one of the activities is called Name Your Lions. There's a chart in here. Let me see. Can I? How do I do this? If I flip the camera. Okay. So I want you to name your lions, okay? Name your lions. You can screenshot this chart if you want, but your lion is the pattern that you have. What is your pattern that is keeping you in your den? Are you someone that has a fear of saying no? Are you an overgiver? Is what has you stuck and unable to move forward guilt? What do you still feel guilty about or feel like something is your fault? And then the one that I shared with you guys that I was experiencing, which is avoidance. Now let's go through these. Your fear of saying no. What triggers this fear or this pattern? Typically, it's when someone asks for help, right? What stings for you or its bite is it leaves you feeling drained, resentful, or obligated because you refuse to set the boundary of saying no when someone asks for your help, even though, and you oblige them, even though it was out of the scope of what you could fulfill at the time, whether that is monetary or emotionally, right? Because we can be drained either way with our emotions or our pockets. Now, how do you tame that lion? How do you change that behavior so you are no longer fearing setting that boundary and saying no? It could be a simple phrase by simply telling them, you know what, I'll get back to you. Because this allows you to pause before you commit. Just like they say, think before you speak, think before you act, think before you give your energy away, especially when you know that you're already in a moment where you feel emotionally drained. If someone is asking for your time to help them with something and you're already energetically drained and you do it anyway, that's what leaves you resentful. But then because you want to help, because it's just in your nature to do so, you feel obligated. But then that still leaves you stuck because helping others means that you ignored something that you needed for you, which just further keeps you in a dreadful loop. Next pattern, if you are an overgiver, what typically triggers something like that is when someone is struggling or disappointed. You want to overextend, you want to help This is one that I mentioned in other videos, was one of the contributors of why I have bad relationships with money. I'm an overgiver because when someone is struggling financially and I know I have it, I don't consider my needs. And if it makes sense for me in the moment, I just know this person I care about is struggling. I have the means, I'm going to help. And in turn, that ends up depleting me and is one of the reasons why I'm in the situation that I'm in now. Or you're afraid of disappointing that person. You're afraid of disappointing them and you letting them down and them no longer wanting to be around you or having this askewed version of you. And so you overgive. Now, why does that hurt you? What's the bite from that lion? You abandon yourself. You overspend or you overextend, like I said already. This is the impact that overgiving has on the individual, because you're leaving your needs, you abandon yourself, and you overextend and overspend in an effort to please and help someone else, but then it's leaving you drained, it's leaving you overspent, it's leaving you exhausted. Now, how do you set that boundary and tame that? Set weekly emotional and financial boundaries. If you are the type, or you are in the type of field such as myself where I have student clients, I was facilitating in elementary, middle, and high schools. A lot of these kids, they're looking for food, snacks, treats, something, whether it's an incentive or if they really just are in that type of home environment where they're not getting a meal every night. And you may be in a field like that and want to spend, want to share. Set a weekly boundary. Okay. Instead of just obliging every client that comes my way or every person that seeks out my help for this financially, I'm going to limit myself where I only spend $30 a week, and that is towards helping others however you see fit. And that's just an example. You set your budget limit and all like that, but that's just a quick example, right? What is an emotional boundary that you can set? If someone contacts you needing to emotionally dump, but you are not in a space where you can take that on, and maybe people do that to you a lot, set up time, set up specific times in your day where those individuals can come to you with those issues. That gives you the ability to be able to plan for it so you can be in the right mental space, emotional space, spiritual space to either listen or provide the guidance that is needed versus just taking on any and every issue that someone comes to you with. Okay. The next lion or pattern that you have in your den that you may be experiencing is guilt. Now, what is the roar? What is this lion roaring at you or triggering? What brings this? It's when you put yourself first. Now, ain't that some shit? You are feeling guilty because you actually put yourself first. That should let you already know that you are a giver, that you are the type of person that fears saying no, because when you put yourself first, your first instinct is you're guilty. Now, why is that detrimental for you? What's the impact? What's that lion? What's that bite that lion is doing that's making it hurt? Now you shrink. Oh no, I treated myself versus my family member, and I know they needed it, but I also deserved a reward because I just experienced something, got a promotion, got relieved yourself from something, set a boundary. It could be one of these, and you're like, oh, but I don't want them to feel bad and think that, I don't believe in them, or that their issue isn't important. So you shrink. You don't allow yourself to embody the fullness of you, or you apologize. You over apologize as if it is your fault that you can't help when you have been helping. But you finally decided to set a boundary and said, you know what, I'm going to put myself first. And that still makes you feel guilty, or that impacts you because you began to self-sabotage just because you feel guilty for putting your needs first. Even twins come in this world by themselves. You have to put yourself first. The way you do that, the way you tame that, you reframe your mind or your words, your verbiage. Hold on, guys. You refrain your mind or your verbiage to stating things like, my needs matter too, because they do. Your needs does matter too, and you don't need to feel guilty about that. The last one, avoidance. What triggers this pattern is typically when conflict approaches, disagreements, setbacks, um, moments where you feel like you have no way out, your back is against the wall, anything related to conflict. You don't really know how to deal with it or address it, so you avoid it. How does this impact you? Issues pile up. You begin to feel anxious. Worry takes over. You enter freeze mode. You begin to stagnate even further. Now you guys see why I said when I did this before coming on this live, it led up to that. And literally, this just shows like these are pages literally out of my own book, not just because I wrote this, but because this is my life. And I know I'm not the only one that experiences these things. So, how do you set this boundary or incorporate new behaviors? That way um, you're not repeating the same pattern of avoidance. You say the hard thing with softness. The hard thing for me was admitting that I don't have it all together, even though I'm learning that that's how I may be coming off on social media. The softness, that's all these tears. Because those that know me closely know that I've jokingly say a lot how I'm a thug. Thugs don't cry, right? But that's just a defense mechanism. Saying what you need with not the hardness, not the mask, because the mask of the vulnerability is what makes you vocalize your needs or what you want to say in a harsh way. It's your way of protecting your feelings, of protecting that softness within you, that vulnerable part. And so you may express your needs, but others perceive it as you're being haughty, you have an attitude, you're being terse. There's something where it feels like, well, now I don't want to help you at all, because why are you saying it like that? Saying what you need with softness, that's where that scary thing of vulnerability comes in. Okay. So um after sharing that, I actually feel a little better. I hope, actually, I'm not even gonna say I hope, I know that was helpful to somebody. I just know it. And I know it because there's no way. I just can't see God leading me to do this live, being this vulnerable with you and sharing those things, but to end it with that activity that wasn't for nothing. God is not going to lead you to do something that is meant to embarrass or humiliate you. I'm say that again for those that need to hear it. Hear me well. God is not going to lead you to do something or to say something that will lead to embarrassment or humiliation or your demise altogether. If you feel that way, that is your insecurities talking. That is still that survival mindset talking. That is another lion within your den that is still talking. Okay? Give yourself grace, please. We can beat up on ourselves so much. I know I do this, not with just the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, not just those things, just the, how can I put it? When you know you've been led to do something and that fear stops you from doing it, and then the future comes and then you see why you were led to do the thing, and so then you start having that resentment and that, oh man, why didn't I do that? That's why I was being led to do that. And you begin to beat yourself up. You begin feeling guilty for not listening to those intuitive nuances and that inner guidance to do the thing. And then that just sinks you down further into that freeze mode, into that stagnation, into that woe is me energy, into that depression, into that lack of ability, I guess I should say, in completing things that you know you need to do that are going to push you forward. If you want other activities like that, I have this workbook still on sale. I have both of the books, Escaping the Lion's Den and When You're Tired of Being Strong. If you click my Linktree bio or Linktree link in my bio, you can get both of them. They are still $12.40. Okay. It would definitely help me a lot. I like I told you guys what I'm facing right now, so I tell you it would definitely help. It would help me monetarily, yes, because I am going through this eviction right now, but in exchange for that is going to help you emotionally. And that's what makes it a give and take, an even give and take transaction. I'm not taking anything from you just to better me. You're not taking anything from me just to benefit you. Those two things, money. I'm hoping you guys have heard before the phrasing or the notion that money or currency is also energy. I put my energy into my digital products, my pain, my lessons, my healing. I cannot just give that away for free. I can't. because then that's depleting me more, like we did in the chart. That will go back into the overgiving, right? And that overgiving means that I'm abandoning myself. So I made it more affordable. I made it more affordable so it could help more people. Escaping the lion's den, and when you're tired of being strong. My hope is that not only did this live allow you to get a better understanding of who I am as a person, as a businesswoman, as a creator, content creator, but also I hope it helped you figure out some things that have kept you stuck and what triggers you to procrastinate. At the very least, I hope it did that. Even if you don't purchase anything, that's fine. I would love it. I need it. But if just that little piece that we covered helped, even if it didn't help you directly because you may not experience that, send it to someone else that you know does. Follow me. Click that follow button. Click that link in my account. Get your digital downloads as soon as you make your purchase. You have it directly in your email. You could literally get started now on working through those emotional blockages. The emotional blockages that coincide with you being in survival mode and you wearing this mask of everything is okay when it so clearly is not. Okay? Do your journal entry for today that posted this morning. Again, we're working on our confidence, healing our inner child, building up our courage, tapping into the gut instinct with the solar plexus, and asking, how are you showing up for yourself today? The best way after watching this live you can show up for yourself is purchasing either or both of those digital downloads. That's how you show up for yourself. The other way you show up for yourself, do the journal entry that I posted for today. Simple ways to show up for yourself. The thing that you have to realize, and also that I have to realize, is we can give you the resources, but no one can do the work for you. And just in case there is anyone that comes across this live or came across this live or going to watch it during the repost that finds my my willingness to be vulnerable with you like this, find it comical or laugh at it in any way, or feel like it is for show, or feel like it is for attention or to gain something, if that's what you think, I cannot control your perspective. I will simply give you a Cardi B Super Bowl statement. Good luck. With every intention that she meant it with, because spiritually, I'm tired of acting like I don't have the strength to whoop ass in spirit. So good luck. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.